Now, all this is going on. Everything's going great. You're having fun. You got a great job there. You're doing great with the listeners. And not just in radio, but in any other business, you know this, Larendee, somebody comes and buys it. And I'm sure the first thing they told you, and this is Forever Media that bought Delmarva Broadcasting in May of 2019, I bet the first thing they told you was, we're not changing a thing, correct?
That's, every time there's a buyout, you hear that. I'm not going to say it's said or not, but you use your imagination, Bob. I laugh at that as they're clearing offices out down the hall. I'm not saying Forever did that, but in radio in general, that's the way it goes. I mean, look, that might not just be radio. And by the way, you have a co-host. I just heard you say her name. I want to say hi. What a beautiful name. I'm taking this off track, but how you doing over there? Did we meet yet?
I met you in spirit form, so
all
I
right.
can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, that's interesting. Spirit form. Okay, I'd love to hear it. Say your name again. It's a beautiful name. I don't want to butcher it.
Larendee.
Larendee, beautiful name. I love that. Where'd you get that name? Your parents?
My parents, and there's a story behind it, as usually there is.
All right, I want to hear the story.
Yeah. So first of all, it's Larendee is the Italian version. I didn't even know that that's what it was because I've been on a quest since I was probably 5 years old to figure out where this name came from. But my parents completely Americanized it, as did the woman's family that I was named after. And I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest condensed version. My parents are both first generation Americans, and my father, they both ended up in Wyoming, of all places.
Oh.
And right, so first generation. My father was born in Rawlins, Wyoming, raised in Rawlins, Wyoming. So it's a very small, you talk about community. And he was dating this girl when he was in high school, and things seemed to be going fine until they went to a party and she pulled a chair out from underneath him, and he was having none of it. So they
Whoa. Slow it down here. She pulled the chair. Did she actually pull a chair, or did she cheat on him with another dude?
No, she literally pulled the chair out from underneath them.
Yeah, I would think that's funny if a woman did that to me. I think it was great.
Yeah, my father, he's
kind of what my company did to me. My old company, they pulled the chair out.
Yeah, he's done. He was done with her. So then roll the clock forward a while later. So he must have been 17, and now he's 23, and he and my mother are married, and my mother is in the hospital having my brother, who's 16 months younger than myself, and she meets this woman named Larendee Francis. And she thinks that is such a beautiful name, and she thinks she's a beautiful, nice person, inside, outside. And she decides that when she has her first daughter, she's going to name her Larendee after this beautiful nurse, beautiful person. So roll the clock forward 16 months later, my mother has me in Denver, Colorado, and she decides to name me Larendee, and my father decides he better come clean to let her know that was actually his ex-girlfriend from high school. Yeah. Wait, there's more.
I've known you for 7 years, and I didn't even know the origin of the story. So she keeps doing the interviews. Use an old radio trick, Brian. I'm going to do you're listening to the Work With Me podcast to catch everybody up. We've got Brian Soscia.
That's to shut me up.
As I was saying. You're doing great.
So did you really go on vacation and you were mailed your pink slip, or you pink slipped it in? Like, what happened?
There's a movie called Friday that we put in our first podcast drop on my podcast. It's the Social Network. You can look it up on, where's it at? iTunes, everywhere. But we put a drop in there for the movie Friday. You got fired on your day off? How you get fired on your day off? Yeah, man, I took some time off, and I needed to. I did burn days before the end of June. Bob will tell you, I hate taking time off. I love being on the air. Mm-hmm. And I had to take them or I'd lose them. So I did 4-day weekends. I figured I would do that with my family and all. And I did one, this whole thing was going on. I did one set of them, and I was expecting a call. And then I came back for 2 days, and I did a Thursday, Friday I had off. And the Burma last day was going to be Monday. And I got a call. It was Monday. I got a call on that Monday. Again, I don't remember things. They happen. They're gone. And that's when I was given the old heave-ho.
Now, were you prepared for this call? Did you think this was coming?
All right. So, look, man, here's the thing. I did, but I didn't. Here's the reason. I didn't because common sense to me, my opinion, would be that if you have a guy that the community seems to love, all the clients seem to love, and, is doing well in the ratings, I don't rock the boat. I just like to do my job, and I try to do it at a high level every day. I leave it all on the court, so to speak. So I didn't think in that aspect it made sense, but I'd seen some other stuff going on. It's radio. Nothing ever makes sense. And I said, it's like, this is weird, man. This is weird what's going on. Because I had a conversation about something else with one of my bosses, and then I was supposed to speak to the GM. And again, I tried to elevate my concern to the GM very professionally. And the next time I got the phone call, I got laid off. I got let go. And the thing is, I kind of prepared my wife. I said, this might happen. Like, I don't think they will. But as the time got closer to me getting laid off, I was seeing like things when I would take a day off, like the schedule would change a little bit. So I said, here's what's going to happen. They're going to take the night guy. They're going to move into the afternoons. They're going to get rid of me. And then they're going to have no night guy. That's exactly. And I actually told the night guy, I said, they're going to let me go. Like the last time I talked to him, I said, enjoy the afternoon shift. I really hope you kill it, man. I hope you do a great job with it. Because I like the night guy. He's a good guy.
Brian, what reason was given? You're number one in the ratings. You're bringing in the revenue. What did they say?
They said you're friends with Bob Stei. That's why
well, that'll do it.
No, not at all.
And Bob Stei can't keep a job to save his soul. If you listen to the Work With Me podcast,
yes.
I'm always wondering there cannot be another job that Bob was fired from.
Has Bob gone through his resume on the air yet? He should do that bit. You go through everything?
Every time we start out.
I love it. I've heard.
And I'm always like, holding on. Is this going to be an acceptable fire story?
Oh, they're always good with Bob. They're always acceptable.
People are still listening, so what do I care?
That's good. Yeah, right? That's right. So, and the thing is, I say that I hate when celebrities go, we're all in this together. Yeah, as you sit in your $1 million mansion, we're really in this together. I do truly feel like I'm in it with the people now because A, I don't have a gig. B, we're all still afraid of COVID. Not all, but a lot of people are, if they have kids especially and stuff. And I just feel like everyone, I feel like if you talk about being let go, being fired, people can relate to that because I found out that everyone has a cool firing story because everyone was like calling me and sharing their stories. And I like to hear them. I mean, I listen and everyone said the same thing. They go, I talked about this in my podcast too. They go, the same things they go. And I appreciate it if they say, well, on to your next adventure. What's my adventure going to be? I want to figure out how to feed my family. It's a great adventure. I love this adventure. This is great. Everyone could starve. Let's have an adventure.
What was the reason they said they were letting you go after all the success?
So what they said, basically a script is read to you. This was talked about in my podcast too. We went through the whole day, how I hung up on the guy that tried to fire me before he could fire me. And I told my wife they're firing me. So they read this script and they had let go a bunch of people prior to this. And I knew the script, so I knew what was coming. And essentially, I don't know if they said it because I was half paying attention. I just wanted to see if I was getting severance. And I believe that's the first words.
Money. I can't have a job, so you got to at least show me the money.
Well, let's not talk about all that. I'm not allowed. There's reasons. So on the exit paperwork that you have to sign when you lose your gig, it said COVID-19 related or something like that. I don't know if it was like lack of work or something like that. But, I mean, it could say that. Look, I mean, if you're having – everyone in the advertising business was having trouble at that time and still is. So it wouldn't make much sense for that to be the reason. I know what I think's the reason. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think that me questioning a little bit may have been the reason. Because, again, it's not my sandbox. Look, these people bought this company. I don't know. Did we even say that? They bought the company like a year – I was 3 years in, I think, when they bought the company.
May 19.
Yeah, you know better than I do. And the company who shall not be mentioned bought the company.
Forever.
I'm not mentioning now. I've never heard of them. So they bought the company, and it was interesting because I saw things happening, and my show was getting ripped up. I mean, and that happens, but whatever. But it got to the point where I'm like, dude, who am I performing for the audience? Who am I performing for here? Why is my show? I got a page and a half of notes one time. I'm like, everyone, what I do works. Why are you doing this to me? So it became very stressful in a way to do my job. And I'm trying to go on the air and not let it affect me and make sure the listeners are happy. My family, my friends, that's what I call them. I tell you, the sociopaths. I feel like I have a duty to them to entertain them. And when I feel it's getting taken away, it's very hard for me to swallow. I don't think it's fair. So that was getting harder behind the scenes. And there's some other discussion about, because they booted a bunch of people, like a lot of people did, about doing some more work and stuff like that. And I just simply wanted to speak about that because they just kind of threw it at me. No one else was getting that much more work, I didn't think. It didn't seem like to me. So I asked to speak about it. And the next time I spoke about it, I was excited. What they don't know if they're listening is I was excited to speak, even though I was a little down with I didn't like how it was being run. But again, they bought it. It's their sandbox. I was excited because I had a really cool idea to pitch them that would have made them a bunch of money. So I didn't even know when he called me that it was him. How sad is that? I'm working from home since before St. Patty's Day, and I don't have my GM's number. I didn't have the engineer's number. Like, it's nuts. And I don't buy, and I don't have to buy. It's not my job to buy it. We're talking about this now, but I'm so past this. The COVID-19 excuse, I've been saying this to everyone that asks me. That's their excuse, or that's their reasoning, I should say. My opinion is I don't buy that. I don't know what it was. I still have no clue, other than asking to speak to somebody, and then the next time I speak to them, I mean, to me, that's just like, I'm not, it'd be like me buying a house. And if I want to set that house on fire, I could. It's my house. I mean, I get charged with arson, but you know what I'm saying? The example I'm giving you. It's in my opinion. See, in their opinion, and it's their business. They're the ones losing or gaining money, so it doesn't matter what I have to say. In their opinion, they must think they're doing a good job, and if they think that, it's their business. I can't control that. They're not going to take me back. I wasn't even allowed near the building. They had to bring my stuff out of the box and clear out the office. And I'm like, so I don't know. I don't know, Bob. I don't know if that even answered your question, but that's kind of what I think. I think that COVID is always a clever way to kind of throw a veil over things in this time.
I think the worst part is your listeners, one day you're there and you're not there. There's no announcement. Nobody said, hey, Brian Soscia's no longer with us. We wish him well or anything. It's just like it never happened. And that's what they do in the radio biz, I know.
Yeah, that happens.
Does it ever happen that there's a grand announcement about what Brian moved on to the next best, or isn't that? Oh,
no. They don't. When you look in radio, when you're gone, I call the old Yeller treatment, when they take you up in the shed and blow your head off. That's the old Yeller treatment. I mean, it's not just here, it's anywhere in radio. Yeah. That's just how it goes, man. That's what happens. And you assume that getting into it. But look, you assume that risk. That's how it goes. They don't make an announcement, because think about it. If they did, why would they want to help me on the way out? They're trying to grow their brand. But see, for me, I'm lucky because I'm so proud. I'm so proud of this. I was telling my wife this the other night. I have such a connection with the listeners, the sociopaths, that I didn't have to say anything. I just went silent. I tried to spend some time with my family. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I tried to spend some time with my family. And, cause I haven't done that in 17 years. I've been working straight like a madman. So I just was quiet. And I guess the sociopaths were very unhappy. They were bombing the Facebook page, which I'm not endorsing that. I will say some stuff was just mean, but other stuff, like this one guy was making videos that made me laugh. Joey Dominic, but like, they're still hitting. I actually saw something today. People are tagging me, so I see it. They're still hitting the Facebook page. So they're not upset. Some other sociopaths told me they had to shut down the community page. I'm not saying I'm proud of this. I'm just saying what happened. And then they contacted this big news journal. It's a big paper. I was on the front page of that. They had this huge story about me. The listeners, the sociopaths, they felt so strongly. Two different ones contacted that paper. Then they contacted me and interviewed me. And the listeners they were really upset. And I think they just are looking for reasoning. And that's the thing. I think I might have been at first, but you're never going to get it. So let's just move on and have our utopia where we don't need a middleman for now. And let's just, like I've been saying, it's just me and you. It's just me and you, me and the listener, me and the sociopath. It's always been that way. And now the shackles are off. The shackles are off. I can do whatever I want. That's why I'm flying around the country doing interviews and combat sports. That's why I'm doing my own podcast. That's why I'm talking about getting involved with maybe buying some type of TV station or something like that. That's why I'm talking. There's so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had. I feel like calling I used to call them necktie numbskulls. That's what I call the suits. I feel like calling them and thanking them. And if you're listening to this, don't think that means I love you. Just think I'm calling and thanking you for giving me better opportunity by blowing me out. Think about it.
All right, Larendee, I'm going to send the interview over to you if you think you can hold him down for a second or two.
Oh, Bob.
Hey, but what Brian also doesn't know, this woman has 10 kids. There's not a personality I haven't met yet.
You don't have 10 kids.
I have 10 kids.
10?
I have 10 children. I birthed 3, adopted 2, and I have 5. We don't believe in steps in our home, but for legal purposes, 5 steps. And I love all of them are my kids.
I understand that. Hey, yeah. God bless you for adopting 2 kids. I think that you said 2?
I adopted 2 children. Yes.
Yeah, kids. Kids are goats. Sorry, children. 2 children. Seriously, God bless you for doing that. It takes a special person, A, to have all those kids in one house, but B, to do something like that. You change lives. That's awesome, man. I love that.
Thank you. So I heard you throughout this interview talk about that the put out sometimes didn't match the ROI. And it sounds like that despite everything that happened, especially in your last situation, that God has given you an opportunity that you're just holding onto and really riding that bull through the gate. And so I just want to say congratulations and welcome to entrepreneurship and playing really big.
Thank you for saying that. And it's so true. I do believe that, not to get too deep, but I'm a spiritual guy, and I do believe that the guy across the street found out. He came over and said, "Congratulations." He's a great guy, and he goes, I lost the job at the same time. You probably think it's a bad thing. And he had this whole thing he was going to tell me. I'm like, no, I'm in a good place, dude. And he's like, he's a pastor, I believe, too. And he said, or he's very active in his church. He goes, "Lord, what do you got for me next?" And it's true. I'm a blessed guy. I have a wonderful, healthy child. I have an awesome wife, a great family. So that's what matters. And if I can still connect with my listeners, that's also what matters. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to know more about this spiritual guy. What does that mean?
All right, we're going to get deep into this. I'm a man of God. I'm saying I'm a man of God. I love church. I don't really do politics or religion, but I don't really talk about it a lot. But I do. Well, COVID kind of messed up a little bit, but I just look forward to going to church on Sundays with my family. It kind of recentered me. Mm-hmm. And I believe that, again, you can do what works for you, anybody. But for me, what I found that was going to this place, it was called Valley Point. I'll still go once COVID gets better. And just, for an hour or so, you just kind of get a message and kind of resets me for the day or for the week. And also I believe that there's some accountability there that I might not have. I'm accountable to a higher power kind of thing, not to get too deep. But that's what I mean about being spiritual. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that I'll be okay, kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So you talked about, and often from a spiritual perspective, I'm also very spiritual, non-religious, although I grew up in a very religious home. My father's a retired evangelical minister.
Oh, wow.
I raised my children in the Mormon faith for 26 years before I took another path. But all that to say, we're very often keen to, I got a message to go somewhere. I got a message to go do something, but you kept getting messages to leave situations before this last situation.
That's true.
So what's that? So tell me a little bit more about that. Leave.
I've been told more than once that, and I love radio. Look, I could be making, I did okay. I'm very proud of my salaries in radio. I did well. I did good. And I'm not bragging. I'm just very proud of how hard I worked to get to these things. Not my first couple salaries, but I don't have the courage. Honestly, I stop you right there. I don't always have the courage. My wife is so instrumental in that, being my support system as well, talking things through. I'm a big talk things through kind of guy. I believe that helps in life. Communication helps huge. The messages, as you're saying, that I was getting to leave certain situations, unfortunately for me, I can get messaged and banged over the head with a bat messages. And sometimes if I'm somewhere, I'm still making money. And unless I'm really, really unhappy, I'm not leaving. Because the thing is, like, if I'm doing entertainment, the listeners, they don't need to know I'm unhappy. And you got to have your next gig set up before you leave. So the messages were basically, when I would get them, I would know, and then I'd kind of push them away sometimes. Bob was around for some of that. I think I probably should have left where I was at in Philly a year or two prior, maybe. And I waited and waited and waited. And then, but a good opportunity came. I think you should have I'm just very confident in my abilities. I guess I'm blessed. I guess I was born with abilities. Sometimes I forget that. And my wife will tell me, she said, "You gotta understand, you're not a normal, I guess, radio person." Because I don't just go, "Here's Kesha." Yeah. I do stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anywhere I go, I feel like if I put my mind to it and work as hard as I can, I'm going to be fine. You can always outwork somebody if they're more talented than you. And I believe that my whole life, and I still do. I don't know what the messages sound like. It's my head's a crazy place. And inside my head, I just can see. I don't know how to say it, but I can see. If you're at a job, you can see things changing, culture changing. You can see And I'm not even just talking about my last job. I'm talking about in general. You can see culture changing. You can see management changing. You can see people integrity. That's the one big thing. You have to have integrity. I believe that it's hard to work somewhere that they don't have integrity as a company. And I'm not saying that about my last company, but what I'm saying is that, kind of, I feel like if you're embarrassed to say you work somewhere or you don't really make a big deal, I'm proud. When I'm working somewhere, I'm proud. This bare knuckle thing I'm doing now. I was wearing my T-shirt through the airport today. I was so proud of that because this guy's worked so hard to develop that, and he is good enough to invite me in and pay me and fly me around the country to do these things. So, the messages are positive. They're negative. They're everything. They're filling your head and you go from there.
Right. Well, I'm so grateful that you spoke about that today because this podcast is listened to by employees and employers. And I always say that I don't ever want to give my piece to somebody else. It's too big of a price to pay. And as employees, very often we feel like we're at the beck and mercy of our employer. And in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. That ultimately we have personal responsibility for ourselves, and that's a gift. And that when we can really sow into that, we're taken care of. And from a very spiritual perspective, we're not supported by our employer. We're supported by our own innate internal godness, whatever higher power you decide to term that.
I agree.
So that people will hear that today, that here's a guy who's worked really hard, been committed, stayed aligned, and then as a result, when life handed you, a knuckle sandwich, so to speak, keeping in with all this kind of.
I thought you'd go with lemons. I like the knuckle sandwich, though.
Right. Well, this is your world you're living in now. That you can not just rise above it but you can walk through it. Like, Michelle Obama talks about when they go low, we go high. Well, we were always high. We were always going high. We were always on that path. Otherwise, these obstacles and opportunities wouldn't show up. So.
Yes, you're 100% right. To piggyback off that, I agree. I believe that if you at work anywhere, you sow good seeds, you do your thing, you work hard, people are going to see that. It might take a couple of years, but I can tell you every opportunity that I've had, if you've lost a gig or something, just remember this. Every opportunity I have has come through some type of networking or somebody seeing what I've done. And then, they're not just going to hire you. They want you because you're talented, but then they ask around. It's almost like the mafia. It's seriously the job. I'm telling you, it's almost like the mafia. Hey, it's almost like the mafia because you have to make sure that your name is on everybody's lips when they talk about it in a positive way. And that's what I've always tried to do. Look, I can be intense at work. I know that. It's because I love what I do and passionate, but I'm never mean. And I always try to put myself, this is very important to me, in somebody else's shoes. So like if something happens that I don't believe is the correct way it should have gone or unprofessionalism, whatever, I always go, wait a minute, Brian, don't get mad. What would you do if you were in their shoes? And I think about it, and then I react. Or the other thing I always say is the end of my show. I still say it in my podcast. Remember, do something nice for someone because it'll make them smile. It'll make you smile. It'll make the world a better place. And we can always use that. It's true. Just everything from and maybe open the door with your elbow nowadays, but holding a door for somebody. Right. Any just little things throughout the day make a difference. The world's crazy now. So let's all kind of, you should love everybody, but you don't have to love everybody. You just be cool with people. It's easy.
Right.
You know, I don't agree with you. Maybe you don't agree with me, but we're still cool. I think you're awesome. Bob, we've had many disagreements over the years. You love, who do you love? Winger? And
Winger.
That's the first thing I came up with. And I love, you don't like Guns N' Roses, Bob.
Correct.
You don't like Guns N' Roses?
I do not.
What?
Unpopular. Hot take. Hot take. No, we talked about that. I think they're talented. I enjoy what they do. They've had Appetite for Destruction, amazing album. And Bob, say he didn't like them. And you got to remember, they were in their not even early to mid 20s when they wrote that album on drugs. I believe too. So it's incredible to see the work they put out. And I would say to Bob, and I know he's going to answer back, and I'm not going to say it to him. I'd say, you got to respect that, right? And Bob would say, what, Bob? Nope. But I don't hate Morrissey, Bob, but I don't know enough about him. But the little bit I heard, I'm not in love with him. I know you love him. It's fine. That doesn't mean I'm going to hate you. Like, that's so stupid. I was just talking to somebody the other day about, he lost his job, and this guy had a Lamborghini. He had all this money, and he said, and you always hear this. I don't necessarily believe it, but I kind of do now. They say money is not the key to happiness. I say, give me $50, it'll make me smile. But, but I see what he means, because when I lost my gig, yes, I do miss the listeners, the sociopaths, but I still talk to them on social media. And the thing is, you can't allow losing a job to define you. Raz told me that as well, Bob. You can't. I'm Brian Soscia on the radio and off the radio. So if I got let go from somewhere, I'm still the same guy. That's people are fake a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes on the radio. What you see is what you get with me for the most part. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, I might just amp it up and be a little happier to make people happy. But that's the worst, by the way. If you're having a horrible day and you got, Bob knows, and you got to go on the air, and all these people think you're this beacon of light, and they get you after they're coming from work, and they always hit you with these nice comments, and they're saying, like, sending messages saying stuff like, hey, man, you really bring me up, I think. And I'm thinking, I got to go on the air today, and I'm miserable. So I got to fake it. But then when you fake it once or twice, you're good.
Well, what's funny is Brian and I worked together in the same studio for a bunch of years, and one of us was always angry at somebody at the stations. We would go in there and vent, and stuff. CDs and stuff were always flying across the room. Oh,
it was insane. Everything was flying across the room. One of us, I think both of us were angry. And it wasn't even that we were even angry at always the people. It was just in general the stuff that we would see going on in the industry that we love. And I don't think it was ever – I don't even know if it was anger, Bob. I think it was just both of us have a lot of passion. And I think that we want to give the best product. And when we don't feel – that's what we said about where I used to work. I said, I was saying it earlier, because I don't see their vision. That's fine. They might not see my vision. And if we would have met, we would have shook hands, and I would have said, hey, you guys, good luck. Let me go. Good luck. And we could have walked out of there and everything would have been fine, you know. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, speaking of products, I can't let you on here without you promoting your podcast. Tell us about the podcast.
All right, a lot of good stuff going on. We have a major announcement, matter of fact, coming up on the podcast. I'm going to put that up at some point. It's Wednesday now, so it'll probably be up by the time this airs. Make sure you check that out. You can follow it. Make sure you spell the last name right. It's not that hard. Everyone messes it up. It's SOS, like Save Our Ship, CIA, like the CIA. So SOS, CIA, Soscia Network. You can find that on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast, any platform, it's on there. We'll be launching the website. We have a splash page. We'll be launching more of that soon. I bring guys on. We talk about the day I got let go, and that was the first one we did, and talk about how that went down. And then we talk about like hey, let's play a game real quick. Can we do that, Bob?
Sure, okay? Why not?
All right, I need you guys to. I'm going to show you one of the things we did on our podcast. I need you guys to be very honest. Okay, you cannot lie about this. Promise?
Okay. I promise.
All right, good. Pinky swear. Come on. So here we go.
Bob, I didn't hear Bob promise.
I heard him right now.
I heard him. All right, so during quarantine, when everyone was quarantined, right, it got easier to not take showers and baths for some people. What's the longest you've ever gone without taking a shower or a bath? Now, we talked about this, and I'll tell you what mine is, but I want to hear yours first. Don't lie.
I've been working from home for 11 years now, so I live in
11 years? You've gone 11 years?
So I will honestly say I've been so busy some days with work and stuff that nighttime will hit, and I'll be like, I forgot to take a shower today. And
you got a bunch of kids running around.
Only one day, though, Bob?
One day.
Get out of here.
No way.
Yeah.
Liar.
No, 3 days.
Trust me, I'm a little obsessive with being clean. When I was like in high school, I used to take about 4 showers a day. So yeah.
So you're like the guy who was on the podcast, like Paulie Paul. We're all talking about the times he's like, I have to take 3 a day, and we're like, you 3? That's a little excessive. Hey, I like showers too. See, the things with showers, I love them. Everyone loves a good shower, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes when you're tired, you're like, I just push up to tomorrow morning. Then the alarm goes, oh man, I'm not doing it yet. So
one day would be my answer, honestly.
All right, 1 day for Bob. All right, next.
No, 3 days for Larendee.
3 days for me too.
Wow, see, we're so connected.
The one other guy was 5 days on my podcast. I said 5 days, yeah. And he said, Marky Sway's name. He said, yeah, you just kind of roll into the shower at that point. The dirt pushes you in. The other guy, CJ Viviani, said it was 3 days. I think 3 days is the average if you ask that question. But we talk about dumb stuff like that. It's not. That's those guys. There's one with this guy Robin Bryson who also got laid off after 40 years with the company. He was like the voice. Like people were saying, like I grew up with that voice, and he got laid off a little bit before I did. So I had him on. He tells his story, and he's very straight man. Like he's very serious. And I'm
love Robin, yeah.
Yeah. So you know Robin, Bob. I forgot. You do know Robin.
I worked with him, yeah.
And he's a wonderful man. So I did something with him, And, I'll still do interviews. I had some guy named The Miz. He was on MTV's Real World. He's WWE guys. So I still do interviews. I keep putting stuff out. I just keep having fun. And my Facebook also, Soscia Networking, hit that up as well. There's a lot of fun to be had, and I'm excited to see what the next chapter is. I'll be talking probably about my Paige Van Zandt thing that we did, the press conference the other day, because that just went nuts. And like I said, I almost got headbutted, so that was interesting, and it's gone really big online. So that's probably what I'll be talking about next. Who knows?
Now, I
do have a major announcement. I do have a major announcement coming up, so make sure you subscribe.
I'm going to do a heck of a radio segue here to wind things up. Speaking of not taking showers, we're going to put you on a stranded island now. So you are allowed one of the following. One type of food or cuisine. What's it going to be, Brian?
One type of food or cuisine. This is hard, dude. I love food. You know the weird thing? You're going to laugh at me. I told this to somebody who used to work with me. He looked at me like I was nuts. And I have no problem saying this. I don't know if this is what I want, but it just came to my mind. It's really strange. I have a wife that cooks amazing Italian food. My mom's an amazing cook. Pick anything. I love Hungry Man's.
Really?
Like once in a while, I get excited. Like if I know if my wife's not cooking, and I'll buy a Hungry Man. I get that fried chicken. All the salt content goes in your stream. You get that horrible brownie with the corn stuck in it and stuff. It's always got the corn stuck in it. Come on, man, a good Hungry Man, nothing wrong with it. So that's what came to mind first, but it'll probably be honestly some type of steak or something like that. I love steak.
You remember their commercials from 10 years ago? A pound of food.
Yeah, right. A pound of food and 2 pounds of salt in the food.
What about one book?
There's a book I've been trying to read for like a year and a half now that I can't get through, even being unemployed. One of my favorite pro wrestlers, because I used to do that as well as a pro wrestler, Brian Pillman. It's a very rare book. I might bring that one, or the Bret the Hitman Hart documentary, or maybe a book about how to get off stranded desert islands.
Good one.
How to cook, I don't know, insects and what's that movie, Alive, where they eat each other, and the Lord of the Flies, how not to get eaten by somebody if they find me. That's the book.
Well, I think your Hungry Man's going to melt on the island, but what about one movie?
No, steak. I changed my mind. I want steak.
One movie, Brian.
One movie? Bro. Come on, do you even ask me that? Do you know?
He's so fast, Philly. He is.
Do I get all the Rockies? Because I don't want Rocky 5. That one can stay out.
Oh, is that horrible? Yeah. One TV show or series.
Oh man, that's a hard one. I love This Is Us. A lot of people talking about that. I would probably drown though, because I'd cry. Because I cry when I watch that. I do. It's like extra Kleenex. I know you're not a fan of Friends either, are you, Bob?
I am. It's my wife's favorite.
Was it Seinfeld that you didn't like? No, you like Seinfeld. Right? But there's some weird show that everyone you used to not like.
What don't you like, Bob? Let's just like, what don't you like, so we can just dash you?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Here all day if I did that.
That's what I was going to say.
I love Seinfeld. I love Friends. Yeah.
That somebody else didn't like Friends. I don't understand it, but I probably wouldn't. Oh, man, it'd be hard. A game show of some sort would be fun, so you have something to do. I know you're a game show guy. Mm-hmm. Supermarket Sweep, when you hear the beep, think of the fun you could have on Supermarket Sweep. That'd be fun. But if I have to go, this is hard, man. Punky Brewster. Did I say that? The Dukes of Hazzard. All my favorite shows, Knight Rider, A-Team. But all the A-Team episodes are the same, so that'd be hard too. Oh, God, this is hard. TV show, I'm going to go with any form of old school professional wrestling because I enjoy that, and I wouldn't get tired of that.
And one musician or singer. This is the top one.
It's Morrissey. No, I'm kidding. That's Bob's band. One musician or singer. I love the band. It's my first concert I ever went to. I love the band Kiss. So it'd be very hard for me to just pick off the top of my head between Kiss and Van Halen. David Lee. I like Sammy. I don't have a problem with Sammy, but David Lee Roth. I love David Lee Roth. Excellent frontman. And then when I get off this, I'm going to think of 15 more. If you're talking about newer artists, check out Welshly Arms. I think they're incredible, and they don't get their due. Every one of their songs, I feel like no matter what I'm going through in life, speaks to my soul.
It's been a heck of an interview. I am exhausted, but we are so happy to have Brian Soscia with us. We wish you much luck with the podcast, and hopefully we'll be hearing you on the radio somewhere very soon.
Well, we'll see. I appreciate you saying that, but I kind of like that I'm doing my own thing right now. There have been, I'll be honest with you, there have been offers. Birdies have been chirping, and it's going to have to be if it's extremely right for me because I have a lot of good stuff in the fire. I'm sitting on the stove. Sure, something going to stove. My wife's probably cooking something great. Some meatballs. But yeah, I have a lot of good things. Hopefully I'll get on the air at some point. We'll see if it goes that way. It's 2020. I can just keep doing the podcasting much like you guys are doing. Thank you for having me on. You can entitle this the ADD Talk a Lot interview with a guy that's tired. I know I tend to talk a lot. I get really excited when I talk to people because I've been inside for so long in my basement. So, like, I'm sorry if I'm going on and on, but I know I did that today. Next time, I'll be quiet more.
No, that's what you're here for. Thank you so much, my friend, and thanks for taking part of our podcast. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast, get more information at workwithmepodcast.com. Original music and score by Mark Ruse. This broadcast has been produced and engineered by Bob Stei. The Work With Me Podcast. Copyright 2020, Ruse Advisors.